With reports of John Eustace being formally approached by Derby County, they are now currently preparing for a match on Tuesday night versus Oxford United, facing up against former manager Gary Rowett at Pride Park. Now, it's going to be a very, very difficult task for Derby County, and obviously, as of recording this video, no official announcement has been made on John Eustace coming to Derby County. Obviously, that could change before this video drops, but we're going to stick with it at the moment. And obviously, Derby County and Oxford are two similar teams in similar positions, in complete honesty. Oxford, about 4, 5, 6 weeks ago, were in the exact same position Derby County were, on the brink of that relegation zone, sort of nowhere and nothing really, and a change of manager has really revolutionised them. With just 2 losses under Gary Rowett since he took the reins, they now find themselves, I believe it's 10 points clear of the drop zone. You've then obviously got Derby County, who picked up a really important point versus Norwich City this weekend just gone. If you want to check out my full match review, that was posted just a couple of days ago, where Derby County secured a last gasp point with a penalty from Jerry Yates. They find themselves 1 point outside of that relegation zone. Now, recent form for the two sides, for Derby County, as we all well know, is very, very poor. It's 4 wins in 27, and obviously we went 8 defeats in a row across the course of all competitions, but that run was stopped under the stewardship of Matt Hamshaw, Andy Warrington, Jake Buxton and Bradley Johnson. You then look at Oxford United, who went on, I think it was a 7 or 8 game unbeaten run, winning 4 or 5 of those, but in their last 5 it's 2 wins, 2 draws and 1 defeat. Obviously the defeat to Burnley is one which you can't really complain about. Burnley are a very, very good side, and very, very good defensively. If you score against Burnley, you've probably won the game, in my personal opinion, because that's the type of team they are. They don't score many, they don't concede many, so if you can score, excellent news. Now, Derby County will be without the likes of Corey Blackett-Taylor, Curtis Nelson, Dejan Brown and Kane Wilson. There's a little bit of doubt over David Ozo after he pulled up with a little bit of an injury yesterday. As I'm recording this video, I'm recording it on Sunday. Will he be fit enough? I think he will be fine. If I'm completely honest, I think it was just more of a precaution. You then obviously go on to Oxford United. They're missing Ben Nelson, Elliot Moore and Max Voltman. Obviously, Oxford United did sign former Derby County player Louis Sibley in the summer, but he has headed out on loan to Rotherham United, where he seems to be having a decent time there, scoring on debut, and has made quite a few appearances since joining. Now, obviously, we've spoke about the league table, we spoke about the recent form. Now the important thing is to talk about Gary Rowett, in my opinion. A very, very good manager at this level. His lowest average points was at Stoke City, where it was 1.3 points per game, 9 wins, 12 draws, 8 defeats. He's currently averaging 1.6 since arriving at Oxford United. 5 wins, 4 draws, 3 defeats, and obviously he did spend time at Derby County from March 2017 to May of 2018, where he did guide us to the playoffs, but ultimately couldn't take us any further. Obviously had that short spell with Birmingham, but Gary Rowett is an unbelievably good manager at this level, and I do think that Oxford do have some good players. I really like the look of Gregory Lee. I like Peter Kioso, and the introduction of Mikhail Helik from, I believe he came in from Huddersfield, is a really, really good sign. And I think Alex Matos is going to be a good sign as well. And obviously you can't ignore Cameron Brannigan. Now, you go to the forward line and they brought in Tom Bradshaw, a really good signing in my opinion. I think he will have a good spell with Oxford United. But the danger men which Derby County really need to look out for is the likes of Gregory Lee, the likes of Cameron Brannigan, Ruben Rodriguez, those players that we really, really need to shut down. Now, obviously, 16th place, if Derby County can beat Oxford United in this one, then Derby could find themselves outside of the relegation zone for the first time in a couple of weeks, as well as put some pressure on Oxford United, Swansea City, Stoke, Cardiff, and get them back under pressure in this relegation zone. Now, obviously, we've spoke about Oxford United. It's now really important that we talk about Derby County. Matt Hamshaw took the team at the weekend in what was obviously Paul Warne setup from the previous week of training. And in my opinion, you could very, very much tell. Now, I don't believe we're going to see major changes heading into Tuesday, whether John Eustace is announced or whether John Eustace isn't announced. I don't think we'll see major changes. However, I think the introduction of Sondre Langas is going to be vital for Derby County staying in this division, as well as that of Matthew Clark. Two very, very solid centre-backs. Sondre Langas was literally like a Rolls Royce. Reminded me so much of when we introduced Christian Bielik to the team. Like, just looked a level above. There was a point where he picked up the ball on the left-hand side, knocked it past the wing-back, beat the wing-back for pace, and it was just one of those situations where we haven't seen that type of scenario from a centre-back in years, because we've never had those types of players. Yes, we've had occasions where we'd be camping out on the opposition box and Erin Cashin would put in a good ball from the left hand side, or Craig Forsyth as that sort of left centre half, but ultimately we've spent a lot of the time with our centre backs sort of sitting on the halfway line, not being able to get involved in play any sort of higher up because of the lack of pace, and Sondre Langas certainly has that pace. Now obviously we saw Harrison Armstrong make his debut yesterday, a player who does have real promise from Everton, and I know I've been sort of quite on the down about this signing. It's not because I don't believe he has quality, it's more because I think we have players in our academy who could probably fulfil a similar role, and it is going to be interesting to see how he gets on. Obviously, I don't think we saw a great deal from him, and I think we will see a lot more under new management. I think the return of David Ozo has been absolutely massive for Derby County, especially in that game yesterday. He was really, really good, and I do believe that if we can keep him fit, we will very much stay in this division. I do think that whoever takes over Derby County, whether that be John Eustace or whoever else it may be, I do believe that we have to have a big discussion about the captaincy. I think it should be given to Ebro Adams, if I'm completely honest, or Craig Forsyth, or someone along that ilk, because Ebro Adams especially just works his heart out game after game after game, and ultimately I know that I have my issues with his technical ability, but what he does on the pitch is unbelievable off the ball. And you have to give him full credit for that. I think yesterday was Kenzo's probably best game in a long time. Was still out on that, I think he was on the left hand side if I remember rightly, was still out on that wide area. But I think what we are going to see over the course of bringing in a new manager and things like that is we will see him come more centrally. I think Liam Thompson had an excellent game at right wing back, which was quite surprising to see him there. But then given the injuries that we have, and obviously Ryan Niambi being more of a right centre half, a solid defensive right back, you sort of need that sort of attacking impetus. And I think Liam Thompson gave us that. Ben Osborne on the other side was excellent as well. And obviously you have Jerry Yates picking up the goal. Ultimately though, I thought Derby County again stood up to that sort of target man aspect for a 5'9" Jerry Yates, which is something I don't necessarily agree with, and something which I believe will change under a new manager anyway. Lars Jørgen Selverson had an unbelievable game. In my opinion, yes, it was Cardiff where he scored, but I think that's his best game yesterday. Held up the ball really well, made things happen, really put pressure on the defenders, and obviously had a goal cruelly ruled out for offside. And there's a very big talking point about that, because Derby County now have really, if you want to talk about it, we've probably lost 4 points to Norwich City. 4 points, whatever it is, because obviously that first game that we drew, did we draw? Did we lose? We lost 3-2 if I remember rightly. So we lost at least a point there. We lost at least 2 points yesterday. So it's one of those for me where I really do feel that we've been a bit hard done to by referees on occasion versus Norwich City especially. Obviously, if we look at Derby County's scorers and assisters and things like that, Jerry Yates still tops the charts, Mendes Lang tops the assist charts, Ebro Adams top of the ratings, Matt Clark coming in third with Erin Cashin in second. Obviously, he's now at Brighton and Hove Albion, and it's one of those for me where I think we're going to see a lot of change over the course of the next couple of days, over the course of the next couple of weeks. I'm just going to head on over to Twitter while I'm talking to you to see if we get any sort of notification that John Eustace has arrived. And as we're looking right now, it hasn't come. So it's one of those for me where there's a lot of talk from Sky Sports about Derby's ambition. Now, in my personal opinion, I think investment must be close, because if we are being ambitious, then we must have some sort of deal in place, some sort of opportunity for money to come in the pocket, because we don't necessarily have a great deal of money under David Clowes at the moment. And yes, people are going to say, well, we've just spent 4 million on Sondre Langas, but we spent that 4 million after we sold Erin Cashin, and we'd only spent 1 million up to that point in the January transfer window. And I personally believe that had Curtis Nelson not got injured and Erin Cashin not got injured, we wouldn't have spent any more money. I think we would have really struggled to bring in players, if I'm completely honest. So it is going to be very, very interesting to see what happens over the course of the next few weeks. I imagine any sort of investment will be on the table. There'll be 2 different offers if we get relegated, if we stay up. That's my personal opinion, and we will just have to see how that goes over the course of the next few weeks. Derby County are in a tremendous position when it comes to bringing in a manager like John Eustace, former time at the club, and it could be a massive, massive deal. I gave my full opinion on the approach and things like that yesterday morning. Make sure you go and check out that video when the deal is announced. I will make sure to drop a video on this channel talking all about the arrival of John Eustace and what it could mean for Derby County going forward. If you have not done so already, make sure you hit that subscribe button, turn on that notification bell, and I'll catch you in my next video.